Hello, peace of the tribe, and welcome to tonight's show. It's your one and only host, is AB hosting tonight, and I'm here to showcase some astrology and talk about the transits that are happening. And we are talking about true sidereal astrology, placements that we can look in, witness in the sky today. If you have an app on your phone, you can look at these planetary aspects right now, even without a chart. You know, there's observation on the planets constantly. So you can go to Sky Live. There's a Star Walk 2, where they give you 3D layout. So there's multiple ways to really look in the heavens. So, and not trying to make a knock at anything. I'm just trying to really have us resonate into true sidereal astrology and understand it. And because there's a lot of things that could affect your chart, because the placements of the planets are pushed back when it comes to sidereal astrology, whereas Western tropical dates are pushed further, and shortened. So, some people's charts might be, I wouldn't say off, but they have a different light to it because they're in a different house. So it's going to be different perspectives. Whereas in your sidereal chart, it gives into the full perspective. It's going to be off the recent. And then on top of that, sidereal astrology gets into 13 sign astrology. So a lot of people are not aware there's a 13 sign. So that is something we'll talk about in the future. This is probably the second astrology video. There's more on the channel where me and the initiates done some, but this is the real second main astrology channel. So really trying to be more consistent about these. I'm going to start writing articles so it could be more layout and a follow-up, and it could be more learning. So it's just not me just constantly talking and ranting. And this won't be a long video. It's probably gonna be like 9 to 10 minutes, 15 at the most. I wanted to do this video earlier. I got caught up doing a lot of stuff today. Just was setting up a lot of stuff and then doing a little extra work, and I'm having fun with it. It actually fits my chart, and I'm going to be showing and talking about my chart and to relate to today's chart. And because this is the actual layout of the planets and stars right now. So, and we're really focusing on the Jupiter transit and aspect. I know you see Uranus right there approaching it, and, we might talk about this conjunction, and we might talk about a few aspects, but really focusing on Jupiter, because Jupiter was in Aries, just a while ago. Now, we have war and starting over, creating it, starting that project, creating the project. Now we're in the part where, your project should be making you funds. It's time for you to make some financial investments. It's just really getting to that, because when we think of Taurus, right, we have to think about a lot of the energies that resembles Taurus and that talks about Taurus, because the houses really speak about the activities, right? Because when we think about transits, we want to think about where the planet is moving and where it's going, and think about the decan that is on, because that's going to give deeper analysis on the planet and the aspect with it, right? So, and when the planet's transitioning, understanding the ruler of that house for you, or that constellation, right? So, Jupiter sits in my second house, right? And for the second house represents our money, our work, income, daily routines, values, material possessions, priorities, habits, your job, and work ethic. So when you think about that, and then when you put Jupiter there, when we think about Jupiter, the best personification of Jupiter for everyone to understand is I expand, right? Jupiter is the knowledge, right? The knowledge seeker in you, your higher self, the inner wisdom, you know, because there's positive ways you can describe Jupiter, and there's negative ways. And we don't want to think about good and bad. We won't think about, aspects to understand, like a light and dark. Because in astrology, there's archetypes, there's multiple things that explains astrology. But for you to understand astrology tonight and to always understand it is to first realize that it deals with your psychological mind. All these concepts are within you, and each concept is an expression, and that expression defines you and how it is expressed in each house. And the sign ruler is going to let you know the activity and the energy for you to be able to activate the archetype within you. Because where all these planets are sitting at, shows you your challenges, your skills, every bit and piece about you. So sometimes when people think about astrology, we think about, I'm a sun this, or I'm a Leo sun, or I'm a, what you call a sun. So when you study and pull up your sidereal chart, which you can go to astro-seek.com, and you can get a free chart, and you don't have to pay nothing. Pull up your chart from there. That's where I'm at right here on the screen. And you can look at your chart and understand it and see where the aspects are happening, right? Because, if you're focused on that one thing, like your sun this, and then once you leave tropical astrology and really understand sidereal astrology, you will be able to realize, okay, I realized I was on the cusp of Pisces, but I realized my sun was in Aries. So I'm not a Pisces sun, I'm Aries sun, and that explains a lot, about my energy, especially if it's, where the house is, right? That's going to help you know where it's at. Because some people, depending on where the ascendant is, the ascendant plays a major role on your life. It's a strong aspect. It's how really people experience you and really see you when they first encounter you. So you want to keep that in mind. So as I gave you a lot of astrology jargon, main thing that you always want to think about is how you really give these definitions, expressions in your own terms, so you can create your own language in astrology. And that's what I'm here for, to help you through that. And also, if you check out the links below, you can join the mystery school, right? We just joined back up. We got this back open. Here's the mystery school right here. So we back open. We got a lot of people here. We had our astrology here. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Join the link, promote yourself here, join the content, learn astrology with us. The initiates restarted this so we can all be connected. And check out our Discord. Join Discord, interact with us, talk with us, ask us questions, share your day, share the things you've been learning, share your content. We are really trying to build a community and really uplift each other and be able to commerce with each other. And that is the main goal, to really ascend. So I say to that, and let's really get into Jupiter, right? So when we think of Jupiter, in a great way we can describe Jupiter and think about it, right? So I'm pretty sure you guys are all familiar with Tarot. Well, Tarot is another aspect of astrology that helps you understand the planets and the decans that the cusp and the planets can land on, right? Because so for sidereal astrology, right, there's going to be things called nakshatras, right? And nakshatras just help differentiate all these decans, and these decans also help explain your energy and how you're different, right? So, for example, you might get a Leo sun, right? You get two Leo suns, but they might be on a different nakshatra. So their energy is going to be different. Plus, you got to think about their house sign, where their house is and where the Leo is aspected in. And that plays a giant role. So that's a lot to learn. And when it comes to astrology, there's no such thing as, you have your people who's really been out here studying for a long time, where they're declared as master teachers. You have intermediate, beginners, whatever. But you need to learn that if you track the stars, if you record the information, create hypotheses, you are an astrologer. You are an oracle. You know what I'm saying? If you know that you can do this, tap into it. If you see yourself doing this, or want to get reading, or just learn astrology to improve your life and to learn your life and understand your path here, then really join the mystery school, join the Discord, subscribe to the channel, like, please, and share the video. That would really help me and really get into the algorithm, because I really want to bring astrology to a lot of people. It's the main thing out there, but a lot of people don't pay attention to sidereal astrology. And I really want us to, get into that at different times. There's been times where we talked about it, but, to really sit up and talk about it and then have it on the mystery school is where it's all going to play out. Because it's just a magnitude of information that, that's in astrology that you have to digest. And it can be overwhelming because you don't know where to start. You don't know what to do. And especially with this whole transit going on right now. So I also brought up the Thoth tarot card, right? Oh, sorry. It could have been slow. I got all these tabs on it. Let me close some of them. But please interact with the channel and the live, comment, ask any questions, you know what I'm saying? Also, book a reading with me. Right now I'm doing free readings, so book a reading with me and just leave a review. If you want to donate, that's up to you. It'll be much appreciated, but doing free readings for the time being. So contact me, DM me, email me, it's all down below. You can even hit me in the Discord, and we can schedule a reading, help you understand your sidereal chart, and more. So yeah, I really want to help the collective have to understand the chart, and everything always doesn't need to be taken paid for. If someone wants to book me, pay me, they will. And like I said, if I'm doing the spiritual work and doing my part, all this stuff is going to come. Other people are going to come help and support me, and the same will happen for you if you're doing your work and doing your part. So let's get into the Thoth tarot fortune card. So the Thoth fortune tarot card is a glyph for the mechanism how the use works, expressed as the 3 alchemical principles spinning on the wheel of life. The wheel has the 10 spokes and the spine is counterclockwise, drawing 10 plums an inch like a whirlpool. So this is the Thoth tarot card, right? You see the fortune, you see the Jupiter aspect, you even see the Hebrew letter, which is going to explain as we get into. And the Hebrew letter we have is Kaf, palm of your hand. Turn wheels, and therefore we create our own destiny. The palm of the hand also contains our destiny as told in palmistry, and this is said to be an imprint of the life path of the soul. So that's the hand. So to really think about this and break down this code right here is to really understand that, you create and weave your destiny by the things you do, by understanding that, what you do, what you put forward, you can really get what you want in your life by creating a structure to get it. And it's all through systems. Our world is built off a system. Astrology is a system. It's all these systems in life and nature that we tend to overlook and not really pay attention to because we are caught in a materialistic reality that is separate from the spiritual, but is so close and connected to the spiritual that you really can't tell or even like define because our ancestors studied it and knew it and was connected and they was wired different from how we are today. So I could really think about how they saw the significance within astrology because the astrology and the religion is all in one. They really bounce off each other and the stars were deified. They understand the stars is us, as so above, as so below, and that is a literally Hermetic philosophy from the Kabbalion, and I'm pretty sure that's trying to see which law that is. As so above, as so below. Forget the book, the Kabbalion, where it talks about universal law. You know what I'm saying? Because that really speaks of it. I think it's the planes of correspondence. As so above, so below, as below, so above. The great second principle embodies the truth that there is a harmony, agreement, and correspondence between the several planes of manifestation, life, and being. This truth is a truth because all that is included in the universe emanates from the same source and the same laws, principles, and characteristics apply to each unit or combination of units of activity as each manifests in its own phenomenon upon its own plane. So we have to understand there's realities and understanding that when we study astrology, it's literally us looking upon ourselves as like these energies is being reflected upon the earth and they're being reflected upon the sky. So Jupiter relates to growth, expansion, and good luck. It is known as the great benefic in astrology. So write that down. Take notes on this. Realize where Jupiter is in your chart. Understand it's connecting you to growth and expansion, right? So if it's in the 7th house, it might be related to the relationships, right? They say Jupiter is also for the woman of the husband, right? So wherever Jupiter is in your chart represents your husband or a woman, right? And they said for Venus, it represents a man's wife. For men who's thinking like, I want to look for my wife or think about my spouse, check for your Venus, right? But your Jupiter speaks on that. And I don't want you to think about, oh, I got a man coming. And if he does, make sure he's a spiritual man, especially if you're a spiritual woman, and vice versa, men, because as a man, you're going to end up turning your woman into a spiritual woman just because you're a spiritual man. And it's over here flying around. I'm not trying to kill it, but let me keep going, right? So now as we're talking about understanding Jupiter in your chart and just understanding Jupiter, because the Thoth Tarot fortune card and the Thoth Tarot deck was created by Aleister Crowley. Frida Harris did the paintings, and then you have Lon Milo Duquette who wrote a book on it, explaining it a little more, explaining Tarot, explaining the science behind it, explaining the 22 baths of Kabbalah, understanding how Hebrew letters connect to it. It's all a mystical, deep science that we will explain. But I'm bringing this to you so you're aware of some things, and for the people who are already aware of this, this is free information to get to you, and this is some things that you probably didn't realize because you have to understand these symbols and these modalities for you to be able to program your mind. That is the point of this astrology. That is the point of these things, is to understand how to program your mind. And you have to understand your mind, and your astrology chart brings that to you. Right? Now, this is all information, and you can go check this out on esotericmeanings.com. You know what I'm saying? If you're really trying to be a tarot reader, if you want to use the tarot deck, you should be on here taking notes. But I'm just bringing this to you because I'm showing you this because I'm not trying to overload you a whole bunch of information. And this right here just gives you an idea, especially in a foretelling way, right? So this is the transition, right? The Hermit relates to being at the center, strong within ourselves, and the Hermit represents Virgo, in order to follow our true calling and what is most important to us. This centeredness allows us to stay at the center of the wheel of fortune and remain strong within when life going through its endless cycles of change, difficulties, and distractions. Both cards are closely related, and by mastering the Hermit within, we are better to able to survive the karmic wheel of life. In Crowley's deck, he means fortune represents good fortune. The fortune card shares the full spontaneity and randomness as the wheel spins, but it has a little more organization to it than the fool. Crowley tells us that this card represents the unpredictable in life, quite like the wild card I described in my article, The Life of the Soul. Represent an unexpected change in one's life, which will be favorable, but may not necessarily seem that way at first. Perhaps we can draw another card to see what that unexpected change is going to entail. Right? So the divinatory meanings of these cards, if you ever use it or want to get into it, get into reading, be ready to act on any unexpected opportunities at the moment. Reminds you to go with the flow of life and let good fortune come your way. Don't try to hang on the status quo, but let the change bring about new things. When times are good, enjoy them, but do not become complacent because things can change. When times are challenging, do not be discouraged because even when things seem their worst, it simply suggests that things can only get better. Keep optimistic and have faith in the universe that it will take care of the situation the best way possible. Change is about to happen, and soon you might also need to alter your present course, move things in a different direction, or turn things around to ensure that you are creating the right outcomes in your life. If we struggle against the flow of life, we become those struggling to ascend the wheel, or even those ones crushed beneath it. Despite the eve and the flow of the wheel, the center is never going to move or be shaken. And so despite what difficulties are around us, if we should stay centered in our truth, we just stay through in our happiness, right? In our hardships. So when we think about our truth, I want you, and I know we're talking about Jupiter tonight, but just for side note, think about it. If we're thinking about our truth, I want you to think about Mercury, right? Look into your Mercury and see where you speak truth. Understand it. And another thing about Jupiter that you want to take note of, because to really help understand your chart, you got to understand these planets, right? So first and foremost, you have to understand that Jupiter is a social planet, and social planets represent our two opposing instincts that we must learn to integrate in order for our personal self to function well as a member of a larger society, right? And another social planet is Saturn. So, and that's what these two opposing instincts are. One urge to expand and one urge to withdraw. So we have to understand that, you're going to have these energies and these fluctuations in you. So wherever your Jupiter is aspected, you know what I'm saying, that's going to help you understand how you're going to be towards your goals and towards your ascension and your learning, because my Jupiter is in my first house. So seeking knowledge is something that I have to really help to expand my life and to expand my character, and for people to see the depthness and wisdom in me. I have to go through that experience, go through that travel, go through the world to really build myself and learn myself. Jupiter relates to the ninth house because it rules Sagittarius, right? Travel, wisdom, philosophy, higher education, law and religion, cross-cultural relations, learning, ethics, right? And Jupiter also represents the teachers that can come into your life, your gurus, right? So how your Jupiter is aspected, you probably didn't have the best teachers, and sometimes it's not like bad teachers, because there's such thing as like, good leaders and bad leaders. And like, not saying this person was showing you how to steal, but they probably didn't give you the best direction, or didn't really be on you like how like someone should by holding your hand. So really understand if you want to see your teachers, or you feel like, and also understand how your Jupiter aspects it, because you might have a good coach, right? But let's say you have a Jupiter in the 11th house of Aquarius, are you rebellious? You might be rebellious against your teachers, or let's say your Jupiter is in, in Aries, right? You might have coaches that are, on you, but at the same time, they're going to be really putting a fire under your ass. You know what I'm saying? Really, like, make sure you're really pushing towards your goals, really ramming, always on the move, always training, always acting. You know what I'm saying? So, or it's just so many ways to look at it. So now, when we think about how this energy is affecting Taurus, right? Because Jupiter transit into Taurus is really like you trying to get that right? Because see, we got to understand, like, in order to grow, right, especially for economic and business investments, right, Taurus brings that groundedness to it, but we have to learn it, because you might not see yourself, being this financial advisor, or being this person who can really bring grounding into your life, right? That means you're just not really doing the work of understanding. And when I mean the work, the self-digging. Because for me to even get up here, I have to do the self-work. I have to do the self-digging. I have to get out my head. I have to quit the perfectionism. I have to stop telling myself, a whole bunch of things. So you have to do that for yourself. One thing I'm learning is that when I put on my work coat, my work coat, it don't belong to nobody else. It's my coat. I put it on, I go to work. And you need to have the same idea, because the Jupiter and Taurus, right? There's some other aspects to it. Just like I said, you have your dark aspects and your light aspects. And Jupiter, the aspects it could bring to it is, we can take the aspects of Jupiter, right? So a good light and dark aspect for Jupiter would be like, so basic positive one would be benevolence, broad mindfulness, respect for law, honor, popularity, success. The dark aspects would be overconfidence, laziness, wastefulness, procrastination, and when we think about that, how that relates to Taurus, because the way you can understand this for yourself, and write this down because this is the code. It is house meaning plus sign meaning plus aspect meaning, and that will really give you the deep, info you need to help you really like break down your chart, because you bring meaning to it. Astrology could do a reading and predict and give you some deep things, but at the end of the day, it's you who brings that value to it, because it's you who does that work. Like me and you can have a deep talk, we can go over things, but like you might feel good, and then you that feel good is not the same thing as doing the work. So it's gonna run out until you like realize, dang, I gotta do this. And sometimes that's through modalities of microdosing and activating receptors in your brain that have not been used. So click on the link below and check out that referral. You know what I'm saying? You be able to save, a good amount for yourself and just more. And it's a free therapy journal on the website that you can download and get for yourself to do when you microdose, or just for you to just journal, period. And it gets into the 7 whys. So check that out. So let me repeat this formula to you so you have it. So you have what this planet means in your chart in your words, right? So you got to like really think about it. You got planet, sign, and house. So you have those meanings equal up, and that will give you the sum and help you understand. Because once you read this for your chart, you get to read people's charts, and they'll just be like, "Whoa, like, dude," you know what I'm saying? So first, you have to understand that Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So Venus, is a lovely planet. It deals with beauty, light, and darkness. It's a Luciferian aspect, and also an aspect of planes of correspondence of as above, so below. Really represents the things that you love to do, the art, the creativity that Venus represents. So I'm just telling you that so you just understand Taurus energy a little bit. Venus represents what we respond to and what has our attention. Another word for this is love. So we just got to think about that. So since you have Venus who's ruled by Taurus, right? And to understand Taurus is literally like the bull, right? Because Taurus is like basically, so think about this. Since Jupiter left Aries, is now in Taurus. So Taurus is what manifests from Aries, right? So that mystery of like you trying to start the project, find the project, really trying to see what you're trying to begin and create for your new life, because Jupiter in Aries is about starting over. You know what I'm saying? Now we're really setting the root, trying to get the plan going, and get it moved. Because everything we know now previously was unknown. So every present moment is a mystery revealed. What is apparent and clear represents Taurus energy. The talents and possessions are found within the constellation of Taurus. Trusting in your divinity through all experience, right? Planets in Taurus represents unwavering faith and presents wisdom of what the planet offers. So Jupiter being here and coasting through this house, you know what I'm saying? Jupiter jumping into Taurus, where Libra is like rules, is it's pretty smooth and cool for Jupiter because it's laid back, relaxing energy. But like, don't become a sloth. Don't become a person who's spending money, who's just sitting up eating all day. Person who's wasting time, just sitting relaxing. Use this time to create, because as you see, Jupiter is not the only person in this house. You have Uranus, and I'm gonna do 2 separate videos on this. But just know that Uranus is here. And Uranus represents that quick flash, that thunder, that innovation, that erratic, that electricity. So expect some sudden changes. Expect things to flip up on you. You know what I'm saying? And not in a bad way, but just just expect the dice to like roll. And I know you're gonna prepare for it, because now you're gonna be eating. It's time for you to eat. You know what I'm saying? So if your belly getting big, that's just for the people who have Taurus in the second house, like I do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that money coming in. So do your core work. Make sure you're not eating fast, dirty foods. Eat live foods. Good foods for your gut health and more. So let's talk about some good aspects and light dark aspects of Taurus, right? Because that will help us really just get towards energy a little more. Um, so a positive aspect for Taurus is endurance, thoroughness, conservatism, and harmony. A negative one is obstinance and argumentativeness. Can't speak and it's getting late. But that just shows about the aspects of Taurus, stubborn, head on. Um, just really pay attention to that, and just really look out. Just want to say shout out if you watched the video. If it was long and drawn on, let me know. If you like the video, like and comment, subscribe, share. If any questions, comment below. I'll be doing more. I just wanted to post this because I just been thinking about it so much, been studying astrology, just put it out there. Want to be more consistent with the content, show up more, want to be there. It's really, really my chart and how it's interacting. So, and I didn't want this to be a long video, but it ended up being that because I gotta get up and morning train tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay. Shout out to the initiates. If you all watched, thank you. If you liked it, go ahead and share, check it out. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure we've probably been going for at least an hour now. Yeah, and check out the links below. Book a reading for me right now. We are doing free readings for just drop a review. You know what I'm saying? That's all I ask for. A review, give me an honest review. If you didn't like the reading, if you feel like it was not for you and it was not right at all, leave that in a review. If you feel like it was for you, leave that in a review. Truly appreciate it. And we only been going for almost 40 minutes, so that's not bad. I just really want to talk about these aspects. So that's pretty much it. Shout out to Initiates, join the Discord. The books that helped me tonight with this presentation was Astrology Explained by Kyrie Anthony and How to Read Natal Charts Easily and Effectively, Understanding Your Birth Chart in Your Own Language by Kyrie Anthony. So shout out to the Colombian Shane and Right Rider Psychedelics. Go check that out. Go get the books. Recent latest book that Hood has out is a spiritual being. I can't talk, but a spiritual being having a human experience. Yeah, spiritual being having a human experience. So go get that. Look that up. You will like it. It's a really powerful book. And also really check your aspects with Jupiter. See the sextiles. That's one thing I don't want to forget before I bounce out of here. If you have any trines or sextiles, just realize those are harmonious aspects. Those are tools that can assist you. If you have any dynamic aspects, that'll be opposition or square, so that'll represent your challenges. Things to help you overcome, be better, things to really test your wits. And sometimes was really looking so word challenge, but that's my opinion. Sorry, my computer having technical difficulties. Um, I think we're probably gonna leave it there. We talked about the aspects. The aspects. To leave one more neutral aspects would be conjunction. You know, that really goes into focus and concentration energy. So really, those conjunctions are something that's very powerful, and it's something that contributes to you. You know, conjunctions are something that really can't be explained because you really personify the conjunction. But I really appreciate everyone just being here, watching the video. You know, I really just want to really work on my craft, my skill, producing my product, producing myself, and it all starts here. Whether it's 0 people watching or whether it's 1 million to 1,000 to 100, you know, I just want to produce myself, and these are the videos I love. It's I didn't force myself to do this. I wrote everything down. I read. I took notes. Even if the, the channel, I'm not the channel, but the show went a little erratic and kind of over the place. That's just how I am. A little bit with my expression. Some people say they get me. Some people I don't. I can go on tangents. I can go on. I can do whatever. I just love to talk and chat. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, and if you have any questions, hit me up personally. And just want to say thank you, everybody. Get some rest. I'm gonna get some rest. I gotta be up for morning training. I'm probably not even gonna make it because I gotta get up, do a whole bunch of shit. So that's how it's when you stay up late. But I want to prioritize this because this is something I would love to do. And this is something I want to do, and we prioritize other things like work and so much more. But we never want to prioritize the thing that we want for ourselves. So that's it, guys. Peace and love. Peace.